Welcome, angry faithful, to this episode of What the Hell? That's right. The title says it all. NATO says Daddy Trump, which after watching the video and him and the guy that said it, who was it that said it, Bill?
Said what? Oh, the
Daddy Trump or Daddy?
Well, let's just go ahead and play it.
Yeah. Oh, Bill, you are failing horribly. There we go. Turn up the volume, Bill.
Is a third day. NATO leaders. The delicate truce in the Middle East is still intact now as it enters a third day. NATO leaders meeting in the Netherlands praising Donald Trump's negotiation tactics.
Like two kids in a schoolyard, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get us stop.
Yes, he said Daddy. We have team coverage this morning in the Netherlands and in Israel. First to Europe correspondent Jessica Millward at The Hague. Jess, this was an interesting way to praise the president's peacekeeping.
Interesting is one word for it. The NATO Secretary General was laying on the flattery thick and heavy on the US president, praising him for brokering this ceasefire deal when they had that interaction that you just saw there, referring to him as Daddy, who sometimes has to separate two children, those two children in this circumstance being Israel and Iran. Donald Trump is always unpredictable, but this really caught everyone off guard. He was asked about it later at a media conference. And for those Australians just waking up this morning who are yet to see this, you're welcome.
He called
Keep an eye on Rubio
earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No, he did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Look, aside from all of that, there was some diplomacy done, and President Donald Trump did meet with President Zelensky of Ukraine. He says that there's no further progress on that ceasefire, but conceded that trying to end that war has been more difficult than what he once thought. Jane, I've done plenty of crosses on this brilliant show over the years. Never did I think I'd be saying Donald Trump was called Daddy on national TV, but here we are.
I don't think anyone thought this would happen, Jess.
What will tomorrow bring?
You're right. Yeah, what will tomorrow bring? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. What is going on, Bill? Okay, there we go. No, I get it. The way he was emphasizing it was he was going off of what Trump was saying about sometimes you got to separate the children, and he was emphasizing sometimes you have to Daddy has to come in and take control of everything. But the press heard it and they were like blowing it up because it was part of the news. And we're reporting it because everybody else was reporting it. I'm not going to go too much into it. I honestly, in my opinion, I think it was just two guys bantering and they're having fun with it.
Well, I don't know. I think there was kind of something behind it, and I can go ahead and play a little bit of what really started the daddy talk.
It's time for lefties losing it, and they've done it now. Daddy's mad. It's bad enough that the president has to deal with lefties losing it on networks like CNN and MSNBC. Networks pumping out lies, hysteria and hate 24/7. But the commander-in-chief was also fed up with an ally and a foe failing to live up to a peace deal. And they all copped it, starting with the lefty media outlets.
You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean me. I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers.
You're real losers. Yes, you are. CNN and MSNBC, or was he calling them MSNDC? Well, frankly, he was just.
Now, going off of that, here's another segment of Pete Hegseth, what he had to say, because there's, like I said, in beginning of the what the hell doing this program, we're gonna try to do the news as truthful as possible. If it comes around after we report on it, and usually we report on it within a week, maybe about 2 weeks, we get all the information we possibly can. Last week we were going to do a special one on Sunday, but we had everything going on our own live, so we couldn't report, so we just did it our regular schedule. And what we didn't report on is Operation Midnight Hammer, which when Bill sent it to me, I thought, oh, Nancy Pelosi's husband is having another homosexual rampant, and he used a hammer again. That was my first instance. That was what I was thinking.
You weren't thinking too legit to quit?
No, not that either. Anyways, the reporting on this of Bill Bill, it's too legit to quit. I can't believe you know that. But anyways,
I can sing it too.
No, Bill. I'm surprised we have 7 viewers, okay? But
that won't gain more?
No. What had happened over the weekend, last weekend, was Trump issued a decree to bomb Iran's nuclear sites, which he did it with the pilots, and it was done efficiency, all to the point to where before that weekend, everybody was saying, "Oh, the U.S. military isn't that good. It would be a like head-to-head fight. We might be able to pull it off, but it's going to be like narrowed down." And you do that way too slow, Bill. You need, if you feel something coming like that, like a hiccup or something like that, have your finger on the button. But
that came out of nowhere. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But after the fact of what Trump did, no one in the world other than the United States of America knew those planes were in the air. None of them. Not one country knew those planes were in the air. And after the fact that they dropped the bombs, I think it was the JDAMs, right? I think what were they?
Oh my gosh, I don't have it in front of me. GBU. It was a special bomb that was actually.
It was a bunker buster.
But they started designing that bomb in 2009. Yeah, strictly for this facility.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
This facility. They started to create the facility. They got the first plans on it in 2009, and they said we need a way to get rid of it. And they started developing that bomb. As Iran did some more hardening of it, they had to improve the bomb. So all along the way, they have made enhancements to that bomb to make sure they could take that out.
Okay.
And they said they've probably been practicing the bomb run for over 10 years. So this isn't like Israel said, "Oh, come on and do this." No. We've been planning it since 2009. That was just the perfect opportunity.
Okay.
And I really don't think that Israel pulled us into the conflict. I think Trump did the whole plan and directed more so directed, you're not going to hear this, Israel into the battle.
Mm.
Since he had said, okay, you get 60 days. 60 days. Israel starts on day 61. That wasn't a coincidence. You know, that was Trump said, I'm giving them 60 days. They don't, you go.
Okay.
They cleared the way. They got a lot of the missiles out of the way so we could come in more safely and do what we needed to do. And they harp on this 60%. I mean, everything the liberal media is, they got 60% got away. Well, the whole purpose was for their program to get rid of the ability to enhance it.
Yeah.
It takes 90% to actually make it's got to be 90% to make a bomb. 60%. So they've got 60%. They can't get to 90 now. So even if they wanted to find it, they don't have to, but there is something that they say they could make, not a full-blown nuke, but a dirty bomb.
Yeah, they have the ability to make a dirty bomb, which is a lot more dangerous because of the okay. Here is what a nuclear bomb does. Okay. It goes over the area. Like if the area was our town, the bomb goes off. Within a week, all the radiation disperses. A dirty bomb, on the other hand, it blows up, but the radiation stays. It basically what happened during Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That was actually a clean bomb. It blew up. It all the radiation evaporated as soon as the bomb went off. You can go in. Let me. You can go online right now, and they have a thing in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But you can judge the. I'm trying to see if I can find it. No. Okay, National Health Issue Health. But you can go in and check and see how the radiation is doing. On another note, the town is actually very vibrant. It's very nice there. It looks great. But if you add in socialism, you get Detroit. But actual mainstream news media, because we're not mainstream. Mainstream news.
We are the new media.
We are the new media.
We are the media.
Right on. But everything in the news media, as it be CNN, Fox, what else? Is there any other ones? I think that's it, right?
MSDNC.
Oh, okay. That one. PB. Basically all news in the United States. They're saying the same thing. They're condemning Trump. And this is even Fox News. Fox News still did it too. They condemned Trump on using it. A lot of them are saying he didn't have the power. He had to go through Congress. Guess what? He's the commander in chief. He can do it. There's no he is allowed. Okay, these are the things that he is allowed to do. he is allowed to deploy the Marines anywhere he wants. He's not allowed to do it with the Army. Now there's stipulations between using Air Force, Navy, and Army. What he has to do is he has to do a 60-day rotation. That he has to do a 60 rotation of those troops. Now they can do this. They can do the 60 days, go somewhere else for like a day out of the conflict area, and then he brings them back. He's allowed to do that. It just has to be 60 days. And it's in the Constitution. He's allowed that. He doesn't have to wait on Congress to do he has to wait on Congress to declare a war, and that's it. And there's a lot of like the bombs didn't even weren't effective, and we found out that Israel had cameras in the Froto nuclear site only because we got video of the bomb going down in it and destroying it.
Well, and you've got to wait. There was the initial soft assessment that someone, unnamed sources and all that leaked, and they're gonna find that leaker, and I hope they lock them up.
It's called a canary trap. They actually somewhat leaked it themselves, but they didn't give them all the information and everything. But what they did was how the way you do a canary trap is if you, Johnny, Chris, all the people in my company, Angry Meme Production, which we're all part of the company anyways, if I wanted to find out who is linking information to other companies, like, if we're Drinking Bros was doing the stuff but for us, but we went on air at the same time, and they got all the information that I was only privy to. And I told you guys, hey, we're going over this, and someone sent them the information beforehand. I use Drinking Bros. I love them. I listen to them all the time. But I'm just saying a podcast name that I get a lot of get some information from. And this is the information I got from them. I about the canary trap. And thank you, Dan Holloway, for explaining it. But basically what you do is you give each and every person that you feel that is going to be the person that has the information that's leaking the information. But when it goes out, if you hear a key phrase on you put key phrases in each of those, and it's not noticeable. Like you use they, but in one of them you use them. That type of key phrase. And you listen to their broadcast, and if at one point in time they use one of the key phrase, whoever had that sheet and you annotate it, it's like, okay, I got Bill's the one that leaked it, because everybody hates Bill because of his Hitler mustache. Didn't like him anyways.
Oops.
Thank the Lord that it was him. Everybody else I kind of like. But anyways, so I tell Bill, I was like, hey Bill, why are you leaking information to other podcasts? Well, I didn't do it. I was like, Bill, I gave you the information. I knew it was going to be leaked. You had XYZ on yours. You're the one that leaked it. And that's what a canary trap is. Now, saying that, this is what the DOD, Pete Hegseth, had to say about the press after what they were doing of basically being clickbaiting and not actually doing the news. If I can get... What the... What the hell? Okay, I have to find it again now. There we go. I don't know what happened on my side, but it just
That's me.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump because you want him not to be successful so bad. You have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years.
okay. Yeah. So, and speaking, sorry, and speaking on that about the bombs, this is kind of funny. I found this kind of funny of what's happening in Iran versus America, between the Iran and Iraq. This is kind of funny.
People in New York right now are protesting Trump's actions. At the same time, the people of Iran are cheering him on.
That's another thing that's kind of funny is Iran was cheering on Trump, saying, "Oh, thank you for doing that. Hopefully this helps us out," because that was another thing they kept on repeating. JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, President Trump, a lot of them were saying, we don't want a regime change. We're not after that. It causes a lot of problems. And yes, it does. Regime changes do cause a lot of problems. So they kept on repeating that we don't want a regime change. But the people of Iran want a regime change. The prince went on a couple of times this week. The exiled prince of Iran saying that, hey, these are the three things I want if I'm put back into place. One, separated of church and state. He said it like that, but it's basically separation of religion and the state. Another thing is he wants to go through the process to have it become a democracy. I forget the third one, but freedom of Iran's his one, so they can do relations with the U.S. That's what it was. But it's so bad that we're getting to the point to where we're going to call them libtards. Libtards.
Demon rats.
Now, there's some of them that are like, oh, I usually vote Democrat, but I voted for Trump this year because I couldn't understand him. Those people are moderate.
Fetterman's totally awesome on this subject.
Totally surprised me. He was like, listen, he's the president of the United States, and he did his job. I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and there's certain things that I don't agree with him, but I would love to hang out with him. He seems like a proper guy, just to have a good talk about stuff. And it was an interesting conversation. There was a couple of things in there that Featherman didn't agree with Rogan, but there it is. And speaking of Rogan, there is another story that we're gonna do. We're gonna do like a 2-3 minute thing on here. I'm not gonna play the video because it's not disturbing. It's just really weird. The Liver King came to Austin, and he was making threats to Joe Rogan. He had guns in his hotel room, verifying that he was a what they literally said terrorist acts. But because of that, they arrested him. He was out on bond. He only had like a $20,000 bond because it's just he videotaped it. There's video evidence of him threatening Joe Rogan. He wanted to fight Joe Rogan. He came to Austin to do that. And my thing on it is steroids messes with your brain. And what happened is he's blaming Joe Rogan for messing with his business, which he did. There was a documentary, and go watch the documentary. It was actually pretty entertaining because he goes on the documentary that he was on steroids. His whole thing was he was lying about his supplement company. I don't know if he was working for him or he owned, but he was saying that the liver enzymes in these pills will make you shredded like me. And I went over a lot of talking to a lot of fitness people, and they were telling me, it's like, no, the only way to get that is if you do like steroids, like heavy amounts of steroids. And yeah, he was just ridiculous. I think a lot of the all the stuff came down into his head finally, and with the stress of he kept on saying, it's like, I don't have anything, I don't have family anymore. So I don't know if his wife and kids are still with him. I really didn't do that much research on that because it was just, I hope he gets the help that he needs. I mean, the stuff like that, I watch and I'm like, this person is really disturbed. And I hope that this month is Men's Health Month. And some people say it's some other kind of month, but it's Men's Health Month. Man, if you're transitioning, still get your prostate checked.
It was Cat World Domination Day a few days ago.
Bill, quit talking to your cats. But
personally, I think looking in their beady eyes, I think guinea pigs would rule faster than cats. But anyway,
perhaps.
When you look in their beady little eyes that there's gears running in there.
That's a good one. But yeah, me, Chris, Johnny, Trey, Chino, Bill, we all say the same thing. Sometimes you need to get a tune up for, if stuff is getting too stressful. I mean, Bill was supposed to be with us for almost 2-3 years ago. No, it was longer than that. You were supposed to be the political correspondent in 2020.
I thought that was a one-time thing, and I thought, oh, that was kind of cool. I didn't know you wanted to. Somehow it got lost in translation that you wanted it to be a
no. What happened? No, this is what happened. I told you I wanted you to do it. We didn't lose correspondent on it. What happened is your mother had passed. You were getting everything situated, and you didn't have time. I was like, okay. When you have time, let me know so we can have you come back. We'll just stop that show for a little bit and wait on you, which we waited for. This is our first year of actually doing this together fully on.
Yeah. Started in November. How did we start back? Did you send me a note or something? Or
I got pissed off because you wouldn't answer my things, and you finally messaged me back. And I was like, hey, dude, do you still want to do this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're talking about, I guess, nutritional supplements, never buy those off of Facebook.
I get mine from First Form, even though
Facebook is always a ripoff. If you sit there, you might have a wife that orders something off of Facebook that's odd, and then next thing you know, you're canceling the credit card number and getting, all that. And if you play one of those videos on, hey, we've got this cure for something, and it starts up and it kind of sounds like a monotone guy or gal, and it keeps going, and you can't pause it, fast forward, rewind, don't stick with it. It's gonna last. He's gonna tell all these stories. It's gonna last about an hour of sitting there going, okay, yeah, let's get to this. And then it's gonna be some $500 thing that I've only wasted it one time on that. But occasionally I'm sitting in the living room and I hear my wife having Facebook and I hear that monotone thing and I look at her and I go, stop.
Cancel all credit cards. Cancel all credit cards.
No. I'm not talking about stop that she's going to order it. I'm saying don't waste your time because you're going to listen to him talk about this wonderful thing and then tell all these stories and then talk about his mother used it. And then it's going to hit you with how many hundreds of dollars it actually cost. Oh, if you put this ingredient in this and it'll help your diabetes, but they don't tell you what the ingredient is. Till you get toward the end, but you've got to buy their supplement that includes the. Well, anyway, just a public service note.
Another thing to look for is how well they clean their canisters after they're done mixing the stuff. Because some of them, I've had a guy. They were doing. He ordered this stuff, and the company used their vats for THC stuff, and he popped hot. And he's like, "No, I don't do any of that stuff. How did I pop hot?" He actually did the investigation so he could save his job. And he's like, the only thing I've been doing is these supplements. And he went back all the way to the place that was in China. China. That did the the process and everything, and they were like, "Yeah, we do that, but we also do 2HC, and sometimes the residue gets in there. It's not on purpose. You can only thoroughly clean something so much. So now, go ahead, Bill. Talk about one of your subjects that you wanted to talk to about tonight.
Okay. I got a couple going back to the last one that people you got Schumer and all that speaking out.
Wait, Bill, we're losing audience, so forget about that. They really want to hear me speak. We lost one audience member, so we have to keep as much as we possibly can. So I guess you're not allowed to do anything.
Okay, anyway, around the you got Schumer and the Democrats here saying, "Oh, it's a failure" and all that. But immediately, if you go around the world, what do they think?
Oh yeah,
and the countries that I pay attention to, Starmer in UK, he was all for it. Carney in Canada, he was all for it. Did a good job. The head of NATO was all for it. Did a good job. Albanese in Australia, he didn't speak out against it, but he was too much of a wuss to really completely back it. So it was wishy-washy. The one that got me is Ursula. Ursula backed it. Ursula was good job.
Ursula
is the leader of the EU, of the entire EU.
The blonde chick?
I think she's blonde, but I mean they're nutcase totalitarian. Because for one example, kind of getting a little off, in Ireland they're having big protests.
Oh, okay.
And
she's a blonde chick, but it's not the person I was thinking of.
Well, in Ireland they're having protests because they have censorship already, but they don't have enough censorship. So the EU, through Brussels, has said, okay, you've got 60 days to institute our censorship that goes above yours, or you're going to be fined, the country of Ireland. And that ends July 7th is their 60 days. So there's protests in Ireland. So it really shocked me that even her... Even her went.
Am I?
Yeah,
I'm still here. I muted it so I could do something real quick. I was looking at something. I was looking at if there's any kind of IRA stuff happening in Ireland.
No, right now it's more like the rest of the world that I get into. Is they're rising up on the censorship. They're rising up on the illegal immigration issue. All of Europe is blowing up on that, but you've got to find that undercurrent of conservatives in some areas that's minute. Like in Germany, they're too radical nut job in Germany, and their conservative movement is growing, but not fast enough. Now, the conservatives in Alberta, they had some interim elections last week, and there's the separatist conservatives who are for breaking Alberta away from Canada. They chose the color red to use as far as their color, like red, blue in America. Except in general, red is closer to the liberals in Canada. So they say when people saw the brochures, when they saw the rallies, they didn't think conservative when they saw them. So the group didn't think through the colors well. So they didn't do so hot. But they're not going to let Daniel have that pipeline. They're not going to let her have anything she wants. And they keep saying, yeah, because they're too much of an environmental nut job.
So are they going to succeed like everybody keeps on like threatening here lately?
Well, what's going to happen? The Carney and the rest of the liberal government keep dangling the, oh yeah, but hold on, and they're not going to go for it. So it's going to be probably another year when they realize that they're not going to get anything, and they're going to be kicked to the curb, shoving all their money over to the rest of the country. Then the people will start the uprising again. Right now, they're
I mean, Trump,
kind of buying it.
you were telling me earlier about how Trump was cutting all ties
Yes.
economically with Canada.
Trump cut. He said no more negotiation, and it's because that Canada was going to levy a digital services tax on America, and I saw it coming a few years ago. I started watching these two bills, C11 and C18, go through the parliamentary system in Canada, and I followed those, and I said, if they pass, those violate the USMCA, and Biden would have done nothing because it's Trump. So anything Trump, it doesn't matter what good it was for the American people, he wasn't going to go for it. So I actually wrote this post June 5th of 2024, following topics that reflect how other countries are dealing with the Great Reset. I've been keeping track of their government activities. Since last year, I've been watching the progression of Canadian bills C11 and C18. Basically, they break the new USMCA that Trump negotiated this administration because it's childlike. It's Trump, get rid of it, with absolutely no care of how it affects Americans. I'm sure they won't give a shit, and it will pass, which it did. This, within one of those bills, breaks the USMCA agreement of commerce between two countries by giving disadvantage to businesses that operate across the border. That's digital businesses. But who cares? Trump did it, so screw America. So, okay. That's why you'll find freedom-loving countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, and some EU countries supporting Trump. What that does is, let's say Netflix. Netflix, of course, is in Canada and in the US. They have to have an equivalent amount of programming that is for Canadians, made by Canadians, for Canadians or their Indigenous people. They have to have an equal amount as programs that Netflix makes for the US, or they're fined a digital services tax. Well, Netflix isn't going to create original programming strictly for Canadians. So they're not going to have that 50-50 split. And this applies to all digital commerce between the US and Canada. So he wants to put the tax on it. And that's what they finally did. And he tried to do that today. And Trump said, I'm breaking all trade relations with Canada. Screw it. And I'll tell you what else is going to happen. The nut job Carney just made a big deal with the EU, and if you go to any real nut job liberal Canadians, they go, "Oh, great, let's be part of the EU." Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, take their censorship also because they're going to apply it. But anyway, they're the eco-fascist nut jobs up there. Their eco green garbage is just going to over the next year destroy Canada. I mean, it already has, but it's going to drive it even worse. But one of the deals with the EU, when countries like Canada make a deal with them, they have to make sure that the companies that handle the product that they're trading are carbon neutral or green. They look at the amount of carbon neutral, and if they don't meet EU standards, then they have to buy carbon credits to offset carbon offsets. Now, that's what the EU is going to be doing. Canada is going to have to comply with that with the EU. And Carney sold them out last week, $500 something million trade deal, and they say, oh look, Carney's going away from America, so it's going to be so great. But if the EU tries to do that carbon offset crap with us, then Trump's going to tell the entire EU to go to hell.
Yeah, Daddy's going to have to smack some people.
Yeah, he definitely will not go for that. And they already have the VAT tax that our products are subject to. So tack it on the carbon offset green garbage. That ain't happening. So after this the TIF with the digital services tax with Canada, that's the next thing to watch out for. If he tries to make something with the EU and the EU tries to apply that to us.
Yeah. Quick thing, another thing that's in the news this week. Jerome Powell. Now Jerome Powell is the head chairman of the Fed. What does Fed mean? The Bill? That was your cue. What is the Fed? Don't ever do that to me again. Everybody knows that's watching this knows that I barely paid attention in like third grade English. So, what is the Fed, Bill?
The Fed sets just basically, without going into detail, the Fed sets the interest rates.
Basically,
and it controls the economy as far as it's a balance between economics is a balance between inflation and unemployment. You can't have complete no inflation with full unemployment with unemployment low. That doesn't work. You want it as equal as possible. So you'll have to increase inflation a little bit, if your inflation level was good, your unemployment is oh my gosh, I've confused myself. Well, anyway, it's a balancing act. You can't have both of them. Both of them can't be a positive. So you got to balance it. Well, we're going to bring the inflation down, but it's going to increase the unemployment.
okay.
So you can't have low inflation and low unemployment. So you got to keep that balance, and you want to keep the balance and not tip it one way or another. And Trump wants them to decrease interest rates to spur the economy even more. Decrease interest rates would, people buying autos are lower interest, so it would spur auto sales, housing. But that's a big argument right now, and he wanted to. Now, if you invest, high interest rates are good because I've been getting good deals on CDs until Trump now and they lowered inflation and lowered the interest rates, and now my new CDs aren't making near as much, but it's better for people who have a lot of credit card debt.
Okay.
Like we used to. I mean, when interest rates went up, we would have been totally screwed if we still had our $95,000 in credit card debt. That was bad.
I bet it was bad.
I do not recommend $95,000 in credit card debt. I was working a really good job. The job out there where you work was paying minimum payments on credit cards.
Ugh.
My entire income from that job paid minimum payments on credit cards.
And you worked a crap load of overtime too.
Now the overtime, I used a lot of that for vacations, especially during the Trump years when we got big ass bonuses. So I'd use that. I'd use the tax money. I'd use vacation, and before doing all the overtime, how did I go on a vacation? I had a little notepad. I have a deck of credit cards, and I'd go, okay, there's $150 left on this card. There's 75 on this. There's 200 on this. And I'd have a notepad in my pocket, and I'd go, okay, that card's used. Put it in a suitcase. That card's used. Well, not a lot of fun vacations, but that wasn't really the wise way to do that.
No, Bill, it wasn't the wise way to do that. Now, let's get into what's going on with this stuff right here.
The Federal Reserve's been raising interest rates based on bad data. Oh, and it's much worse than that. By the end of this video, you're going to be questioning if the Federal Reserve should even exist or not. So, Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, the guy that's primarily in charge of raising or lowering the interest rates, testified before Congress today about a banking hearing that they were having. And the reason for this banking hearing is they're trying to figure out why, if all the economic data appears to be good, is he not lowering interest rates? And he had a couple of interesting things to say. The biggest oh fuck moment that he had is saying that, well, I'm not lowering interest rates because I'm worried about the reliability of the economic data that we're getting at the Fed. So you're not lowering interest rates because you're afraid that the data is not accurate. Yet you've been raising interest rates uncontrollably for the past 4 years based on that same data. But hold on, I told you, it gets better or worse, depending on how you look at it. He then went on to say that if the United States gets trade deals before we decide on interest rate cuts in July, we might just have to do interest rate cuts. Problem though, Jerome, when you make decisions on if you're going to touch the interest rates or not, it's based on current economic data, not what's going to happen in the future, because you can't speculate on that. So what you just admitted is we're taking into consideration future possibilities, even though your job is to only look at the current data, which, oh, by the way, you don't even think is accurate. And we play 3 strikes around here, so that was number 2. He's about to get number 3. We now have bipartisan support from both Democrats and Republicans after this hearing that are siding with Trump and saying he needs to lower the interest rates. He doesn't have a choice anymore. So is this the point where I can confidently come in and say, I told you so? Because I've been making videos for the past 3 years about how the data that we're getting for CPI reports isn't accurate and we're being lied to. And now the Fed chair is saying the same thing. But that's neither here nor there. Here's the question I have for you. Do you think that based on this news that just came out, the Federal Reserve should be relieved of their duties and we should just abolish the Federal Reserve altogether? Or do you think, no, it's fine. Sometimes you get bad data. He's doing an okay job. Let's just keep it rolling. Let me know in the comments below.
Now, saying that, I have another video of the actual hearing. I have to come up with something that's a little bit more faster than doing it this way. But anyways.
It says the Federal Reserve plays no role in commenting on trade policy. So you don't comment on supply shocks. You don't comment on tax policy, which clearly affects inflation. You comment on tariffs. So I'm going to just show you. I don't comment on tariffs at all, actually. I comment on only inflation. Commented on tariffs. You've only commenting on the wisdom of tariffs. You are costing this government $400 billion a year by refusing to lower interest rates. I just think that you should consider whether you're really looking at this from a fiscal lens or a political lens, because you just don't like tariffs.
Powell is infuriated that Trump's tariffs have not caused a recession or inflation. Should he be removed given the damage he's causing this country, one man?
Absolutely, Laura. He cost this country over $400 billion a year. Plus, this is just the federal government, our cost of borrowing, plus homeowners, people who take out car loans, people who have credit card debt, businesses that are trying to get loans. One man should not be able to cost this economy, this country that much because he has a personal beef with the president of the United States. This guy's term is up next May. I've advocated that he should be immediately removed. We can put somebody in there. If we just lowered our rates to where Japan is, who has higher inflation, Japan has higher inflation than we do, we would save hundreds of billions of dollars. We're in the middle of a tough reconciliation bill where we have to make compromises on what we're going to cut. We wouldn't have to do any of that if we had a person that was willing to just do the rational thing and cut interest rates, which is the common sense thing to do. This guy needs to go. He's a partisan.
So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I'm so surprised that they didn't change it as soon as he goes into office, that the interest rate went down. The interest rate should have actually came down probably around about March, April, maybe like the beginning of May. The interest rate should have gone down. And this is a constant problem with this guy.
And it
is
keeps banks guessing, because like your CD rates, they'll look, and when they set a 4, 7, 11 month, they'll look and go, okay, 11 months out, do we think the rate will drop? And if they're not sure, but they might for 11 months, then they might make that interest rate for a 4 or a 7 month. For example, a few years ago, I was getting over 5% on a relationship interest rate through Wells Fargo. I was getting over 5% on an 11 month. Right now, a 4 month is 4%, and a 7 month is 3.75.
Oh, wow.
So it has taken a big drop in the last probably 6 months. 6 months it's taken a drop, because I've renewed some CDs and I roll them over into a different special thing. Always look for their they call them special rate fixed CDs, not their standard CDs.
Now, what exactly is a CD?
Certificate of a deposit. It's not the highest interest earning, but it's a safe investment. So if you want a safe investment, but one thing you were talking about is, I think you mentioned Economist.
Mm-hmm.
And something that they mentioned a couple of days ago was Trump mentioned it, an economist that was against tariffs, but he changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
It's this, and I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name. Torsten Slok, chief economist at Apollo Global Management, laid out a potential scenario in which Donald Trump's tariffs are extended long enough to ease economic uncertainty. His big thing is, he said he sees a scenario where Trump outsmarted all of us. As far as they thought tariffs would collapse. My biggest surprise was Thomas Sowell. Everyone always threw him back at me, and I supported tariffs because I could see how Trump was going to work them, and they'd call me Tariff Man, because that was the name calling that liberals would call me, because I supported it. Thomas Sowell was totally anti-tariff. And if you look, about a month ago, he came out with a video about, Trump's is going to work. And he laid it out how it's working and how it's going to continue to work. And if you haven't ever watched some of his videos, he's coming out with a video every day. It's very learned. He's a black economist who is in his 90s, 90s, and comes out with a video every day.
Oh, wow.
And they're real detailed. So latest events, things that happened in the news yesterday, he'll have a video on it detailing it.
Okay. Last thing, and I have to go. This is going to be a short episode for the week. Sorry about that. We have plethora of news that we could go on like all for about 3 hours.
That's my favorite word.
Plethora.
I inventoried a company that went bankrupt, and I had to inventory their IT assets for 32 divisions that were put into one central location. They didn't really care about mice, but we had to get the information on all the computers, and they said, I counted everything, and they said, just dump mice in a box. So I labeled it plethora of mice.
But we have a feel-good story. I have to turn down the music. But what this is a unknown soldier, the first, was it the old guard? This is his last walk. And the reason why you can't hear any sound on this is because the music on there is copyrighted. So, but if you don't know anything about the old guard guards the tomb of an unknown soldier. And if you ever get a chance to go to Washington with all the snakes and vipers there, go to Arlington National Park. and go to the unknown. You can't. You can watch this. You can't say anything. You can't do anything. You just have to watch it. But it is the place where all the soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors are buried after they perish while, not even on duty. You can be requested to be buried at Arlington Cemetery if you served your country honorably. But all of this is after he's done, he puts wreaths on the unknown soldiers, which just the discipline they have for doing this job just to get that badge. It's while you are on this guard, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed to curse. It's a work one day, work basically you do like 24 hours on, 24 hours off. But it is I can't imagine the tasking because they do rotating shifts on that. They do one at least 1 hour and then they switch depending on the heat and the weather. There was a hurricane and there is two of the old guard standing at their post saying, "We are not going to move. Let hell come down to us." And they stayed through the rain. This is the epitome of discipline, honestly. Bill, have you ever watched the
my father, when he passed away, he had, and it was when they had a really excellent honor guard out here, and he had the full military funeral, and they did it the way they got his coffin out. They took such small steps. It probably took about 15 minutes just to move it. And then they did the 21 gun salute. And if you can find it, it's kind of hard to find. I have only heard it read once. They folded the flag and then tucked a shell into each corner of the flag and then went through and recited what each shell in each corner meant before they did the giving it to my mother. And that was just such a moving experience.
Yeah, I've seen the Marine Honor Guard. Actually, the way they do their training and everything, they take like one of those cow tubs, and they bolt in like handles on it, and they have 6 men, and they carry it with full weight, and they put like 500 pounds in those damn things, and they have 6 men carrying it, and they do it full on. It is just a lot of people probably don't think that there's a lot of training in these, but it is immaculate of how much training you have to do to just do honor guard.
Oh, I could see that just in their look, the professionalism, everything just so perfect. I've seen other honor guard funerals here in town, and the honor guard, it was kind of they weren't near as professional looking, but his happened to be. I mean, they took a long time with it. It was something I'll never forget. I wish I could find the statement that they read about the meaning of the shells. So if you can find that, that's pretty emotional. And I have a picture of these signed by President George Bush up on a wall right outside the hallway.
A symbolism representing of the 3 rifle volleys fired during military services. The symbolism is the 3 volleys is believed to represent the words duty, honor, and country, which are core values in the military. Yes, they are. The memento The spent shell casings from these volleys are collected and presented to the family of the deceased, often carefully placed in a small container or folded into the American flag presented by the ceremony. Not bullets. Most important notes are the spent casings, not live bullets. The rifle used in these ceremonies are typically modified into blanks. Okay, and historical contents. The practice of firing volleys at funerals dates back to European dynastic wars, where volleys were used to signal the pause in fighting. So
if you can ever find that's a historical, if you can ever find what they actually read to the grieving spouse or whoever at the funeral, that's what was just really, really moving, the words and the way they read it, the solemnness of the entire presentation. It was just, you can break down pretty quick.
Okay. And I'm going to do one last one. We're not going to go fully onto it. We're going to spend probably, we're just going to watch the video. I thought this was kind of funny.
Oh, and I've got about 45 seconds that I would want to do too.
Entire communities. Hello, I'm Bill Asaley, United States Attorney for the Central District of California.
And I'm Akil Davis, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office.
And I'm Tyler Hatcher, the Special Agent in charge of IRS criminal investigation here in Los Angeles.
The right to assemble and protest peacefully is protected by law. Unfortunately, we have seen individuals whose intentions are to cause damage and to assault law enforcement. For example, last week we arrested an individual who was charged with conspiracy to commit and aiding and abetting civil disorders. These violent agitators put peaceful demonstrators at risk.
The FBI and our fellow partners will continue to investigate individuals and organizations who are knowingly funding or committing acts of violence against law enforcement, as well as the destruction of property.
We are currently tracing money to determine who is providing funding for these riots. Funding crime doesn't just affect the criminals, it also disrupts entire communities. Each dollar funneled into illegal operations fuels violence, undermines law and order, and perpetuates fear. Make no mistake, we will identify and disrupt financial networks supporting these criminal activities.
Think before you act. The legal consequences for financing or aiding and abetting these crimes.
Okay, well, that's about it on that one. So, yeah, the two worst departments that you do not want to have doing a fine-tooth comb: the FBI and the IRS. Those are two key factors that are people are like, oh, what they got? Hand it down as a law enforcement agency. FBI is probably your worst enemy if you do like white collar crime or anything that has to investigate money, because they're really, really, really good at it. I mean, it's how they got Capone. And also the IRS, which that's how they got Capone again. Yeah, so I can't wait if we get any kind of information on this, who's going down because of the riots in LA, and hopefully they go back farther into the George Floyd riots and find out they contributed to those too. So, all right, Bill, you got 40 seconds.
Okay, this is the part of the video that I was getting to a little while ago.
Not a politician.
Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning, because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
What Trump said on that is they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I could have played the original. Now you have the famous words, famous quotes through history.
Oh, I love this one. I've seen this one. This is awesome. I'm gonna put it up. Hold on. I'm gonna put it up in full screen because it's hilarious. Abraham Lincoln is 7 years. FDR, the only thing that have to fear is fear itself. President Reagan, tear down this wall. And Trump, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. America. Anyways, everybody.
Yeah, and I think it was the UK. They said it reminded them of the show Team America.
Oh yeah.
Team America.
Yeah. But everybody, thank you all our big 30 viewers. Thank you all 30 viewers that are watching. Hope you can you get notifications and everything. We do this every Friday at 8:00. Sometimes we go long, sometimes we go short.
Click like, click subscribe.
Do it. Whatever is that you like about it, comment on it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all.
That way, if you comment, I probably can't reply back to you because YouTube doesn't like me. So if you see that you don't get replies back, YouTube deletes my replies.
Yeah. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. I am David Dickerman.
And Wild William.
Goodbye. All right. I got to go.